Hey, Aspen Mountain peeps, happy Monday to you. Hopefully you had a wonderful weekend. Apologize about Friday. I didn't have a chance to come on and do a live. It was a busy day. I've been doing a lot of scheduled things, and I had a whole bunch of meetings on Friday I had to get accomplished. And I didn't have a gold leaf show on Friday night. I plan on having one this Friday night. I reached out to the guest. They have not gotten back to me. Hopefully we'll have a guest on. If not, we'll interview one of my guys or something. We'll interview somebody. We'll get it taken care of. Today we're going to talk about outside plumbing. And we've been getting a lot of calls about this lately. Something that happens every year around this time of year, springtime. People start getting the garden hoses ready for their garden, getting their sprinkler systems ready to go. And they realize that... I forgot to turn notifications off. They realize that they forget to turn off their system and blow it out before the winter's over. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk a little bit about what you got to do to prepare that in the wintertime and what you need to know in the springtime when you get ready to turn it on, just so you do it. Hey, thanks for joining us, Josh. Thanks for joining us, Tanner. Thanks for joining us, Joe. Hey, Chuck. Thanks for joining us, buddy. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. I'm going to flip you around and we'll just kind of go from there. So this is my outside sprinkler system, okay? As you notice, I have a little drain plug right here. Notice it's done in copper down until that point right there. Now, I'm not a big fan of PVC. Over the years, they break. As you can tell, my lawn's been tore up right here, and it's because every time it breaks, I have to cut down deeper into the ground and replace it, trying to keep all the fittings down in there. But you notice I have a blowout right here. Every winter, I will blow my sprinklers out from the inside of the house just so we don't have this problem come springtime. And then I'll come out here and I'll hook up my air chuck to this, and I'll blow it this direction as well and inside the house to make sure all of it's completely cleared out. I just want to make sure that my line's completely cleared out. Sometimes water can get stuck in this part, and this is usually the part that we see in people's homes that freeze and break. A lot of times they'll have copper coming out and then they attach immediately with PVC instead of keeping it copper and keeping it going down. Now, copper is a little bit rigid, so you'll still have issues with it, splitting and breaking if you don't blow it out right. But if you do it right and you put in a special fitting like that, then you don't have to worry about it. Now, I know a lot of city systems are requiring a anti-siphon system. What I would recommend doing is blow it all out, take that anti-siphon system off, and put it inside your home where it won't freeze and break, and just put a cover over the top of your line going into the ground, and that way it doesn't freeze. Something else that a lot of people always forget about, sorry about that, my kids got toys everywhere. Something a lot of people always forget about is the hose bibs. I don't know why, but in Wyoming, you would think that the first freeze comes and you got your hose off. Now, I time it perfectly with hunting, and I time the sprinkler system perfectly with a couple holidays. The first holiday I time it with is Memorial Day. That's when I turn my sprinklers on. I will not turn it on until Memorial Day weekend. And the reason I do that is because in Wyoming we have freezes taking place prior to that a lot of people don't think about. Right now, yeah, it's getting nice. It's supposed to be 70 this week, but it could freeze next week because it's April, springtime, and we could have a hard freeze and a snow like no other. So I wait until Memorial Day to turn on my sprinkler systems and get them going. Until then, I just water it by hand. The garden hoses, same thing. And to blow it out, I do it on September, on Memorial Day weekend, or on Labor Day weekend, sorry about that. In September is when I blow out my sprinkler system, because that's right before the big freezes start happening. It's in September, it's still a little warmer. I don't really care if my grass starts to die at that point, because it's going to go dormant for the winter and it'll come back in the spring anyways. So those are 2 times tables that I use. In Wyoming, with a lot of hunters, you can tell them, hunting season comes in September. Make sure you're blowing out those sprinklers before your hunt. Make sure it's all done. And then in the springtime, before it becomes fishing season, make sure that you're getting it going right after that first thaw of the rivers and stuff goes. Something that everybody else forgets is the hose bibs, and they'll leave their garden hose on it. Now, these are designed, and this is one without the siphon. The one on the front has a siphon, but these are designed to drain out if there's no garden hose on it. If there's a garden hose on it, it collects the water inside there. It can't drain out, and it'll actually freeze back on the inside of the house. And then when people turn it on in the springtime, like right now, blow it up there so you can see it a little bit. When they turn it on in the springtime, they get water coming straight down into their house because it's frozen broke inside that tube. The way these are designed is the valve shuts off back inside the house, but it has to have a natural pitch and drain out. If it doesn't drain out and it's got a hose on there, it stops that water from draining out, collects the water, and you'll have it freeze and break. So people say, well, I don't get it. I had a frost-free hose bib. Why did it split and break? Because you left your hose on and it couldn't drain out. That's the whole answer. Or, and I've seen this a couple of places around here in Rock Springs, it's not pitched properly. The installer, instead of pitching it with a little bit of pitch towards the outside so it could drain out, they put it level and it won't drain that way. I always told my guys, you know, even if we have to do a double S on copper line, you do what you got to do to give it a good pitch to where it'll drain out. And if it's pitched properly, you'll never ever have it freeze and break. And so those are some of the concerns that we find this time of year. We're getting a lot of calls right now for sprinkler systems and hose bibs, and I'm like, yeah, it's springtime. I gotta shoot that message out there. So folks, if you are having a problem with this, give us a holler. If it's inside the ground, we won't touch it. As far as sprinkler system, that's a landscaping thing. The reason we don't do that is because we don't want to mess with people's yards and mess them up. We let the landscaper come in, let them do it, because they can do the proper putting it back so it grows right. But we will take care of your hose bibs. We will take care of anything that's above the ground and going down to the ground. And anything inside the house we'll take care of. Have a wonderful Monday. We'll catch you tomorrow.